What's good, YouTube? Penguin321 here, back here with another video. Today I'm going to be showing off my pure Lightsworn build that I put together myself for my locals last week. I did end up taking this to a 3-1 finish in my locals, which is pretty awesome, especially for the first tournament that I ran it in. I thought that was pretty cool. Taking out Assault Beast, my only taking out Assault Beast, taking out Zombies. I don't remember the third thing that I played, but I know that the only loss that I dropped, shout out Scott Summers, lost to his Spellcaster deck. That's a fire deck, honestly. I might look into getting that on the channel because he's been doing some pretty hot stuff with that deck. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started on the build. Start things off, got your Lightsworn package, 1 Lumina, 1 Jane, 1 Aaron, 1 Garoth, double Raikou, double Lila, double Celestia, and triple Wolf. I think pretty standard. Raikou, I don't really want to go to 3 because I do run 1 Hamster in the build. I think that's pretty perfect as far as setting off the 3. Otherwise, I think it's pretty set for just a different amount of Lightsworns. I do not run Orcus in pure Lightsworns. I know a lot of people do, just because a lot of people like that it keeps people from being able to target things, keeps D-Prison out of the potential problems that you have to deal with, but I just don't think that Arcus is really that good. Being a 1200 monster, I just don't think he's big enough. I don't like that he only mills 2. I don't like that he's a dead draw in hand. If you start out with him, he doesn't, unless you can specifically like bring him out with Lumina, and then even then you only have like Lumina and Orcus out, and it's just, I think there are better options. I don't think Orcus is worth it. These are the Lightsworns for the package. To go along with the Lightsworns, of course, you do have your 2 Judgment Dragon. Would not be Lightsworns without Judgment Dragon, alongside the package of Double Honest. Would not be a Lightsworn deck if you weren't running Double Honest. Double JD, got to keep your monsters alive, get that free damage in during your opponent's turn even. JD, just to nuke fields, broken boss monster. For the non-Lightsworn package, we've got 1 Hamster. It just kind of acts as the pseudo third Raikou, especially also if it's like game 1 and your opponent may not know that you're on Lightsworn quite yet. It's nice to be able to set this. They aren't entirely sure. They might think it's a Raikou because, you know, it's just a popular thing in Edison format. It could be just a generic, any other kind of monster if they're not too sure what they're attacking into. It's just a really good thing to just kind of pop, and then during your turn you can flip Raikou, or if it summons Raikou, it just blocks another attack, in which case sometimes if you put the Raikou out, they might debate whether it's even worth attacking because then they lose a card. Broken, Necrogardna, Plague Spreader Zombie, Card Trooper. In the past, I haven't been the biggest fan of Card Trooper, but I do like it as just like a pseudo. It just mills 3. The pure Lightsworn build running 3 Wolves does make this a lot stronger during your turn. Also, it is just a free draw if you want to just set it, let your opponent kill it. Like if turn 1, you don't really have a whole lot of plays, you want to leave this in attack mode. You know, kind of like the setting of the Hamster. You know, it makes your opponent make this gamble whether they think they're attacking into a Hamster or whether, you know, it's just a Card Trooper that's going to give you a free draw. It's just there as another space. We've got the 1 Gores. The Gores in my build specifically is pretty interesting just because I do run a number of trap cards, which I think is different from most Lightsworn builds that I've seen. But even with the number of trap cards, I do think that he's still good, because if you work it where you don't have a whole lot of back row, like if you have Gores in hand and you can just, because the main traps that I'm running are like Compulse, D-Prison, the things that are going to be getting triggered. If you don't just set all of your back row, you'll be able to get the Gores off, you'll be able to play into it. And with all the traps, a lot of the time, they may not just see the Gores coming, which, you know, it's just kind of a psych out kind of strategy there. That's it for the monsters. We've got 22 monsters taking up a very large majority of the deck. Moving on to spells, not a whole lot. Foolish Burial, pretty much mandatory. You can mill the Plague Spreader Zombie. Most of the time, you're just going to be milling a Wolf, gets to the free summon. You can mill a Lightsworn if you're trying to get Judgment Dragon out. You know, it's just there for the mill. Searchers, I do run 1 Charge of the Light Brigade, 1 Rhoda. I really like the reinforcement of the army in the deck. Specifically, at the tournament when I played this, I could have probably beaten the Spellcaster deck that I played against had I not played this sooner. At my tournament, I could have probably won game 1 versus the Spellcaster deck had I not played this so soon. Turn 1, immediately I had Rhoda searched. I had wrote a searched Aaron, and because I had searched Aaron preemptively, he knew that I had that and knew not to set his apprentice magicians. So that was kind of a misplay on my own part, but it's another one of those things that it's just able to get you your warriors. If you need a beater, if you need something to just get rid of a defense, if you need just something to mill, something that's just good, something inherently, it's just another searcher. That way you're not just stuck to Charge of the Light Brigade to getting you a monster. I like that it just gives you that option to be able to search another thing at will without being so dependent on seeing Charge of the Light Brigade. I like that it gives you a second option. Going on to Monster Reincarnation, I did decide to move to 1 Monster Reincarnation, 1 Beckoning Light. That way you just have your recursion, but also that way it kind of gives like a variety as far as the things that you're seeing. Like I don't want to always have to set the card, but at the same time, like Beckoning Light's so good because you can pitch your hand, get Honest's back, get Judgment Dragon's back. At the same time, if you open Monster Reincarnation during your turn, you can be more proactive, like on the draw if you're drawing Monster Reincarnation. So it can just give you that split, which I really like. Along with the spells, we've got Cold Wave and then Triple Solar Recharge. Cold Wave's too good. If you see this turn 1, it's almost broken turn 1, especially if you're going first, because you can be like Cold Wave, set Raikou, and which doesn't seem too powerful inherently, but it is broken because your opponent cannot use any spell or traps, and if they're doing anything, unless they're like a quick draw deck, like if you're playing anything but quick draw or anything that's just going to spam, most of the time they're either going to set or they're going to summon a monster attack. They might not even think about Raikou at the time, but they'll attack into like a Raikou, lose their only monster, and then you can just go off. And especially if Raikou mills a wolf, or if you have plays like you're sitting on solar recharges in hand for next turn, or you're sitting on Charge of the Light Brigade, some other stuff, Cold Wave just sets up for that broken just explosion turn 2, and I love Cold Wave in the deck. Too good. Trap cards. Now this is where I think my build differs from a lot of other people's build, just for the fact of how heavy, especially game 1, there might be a lot of people that may side into like heavier traps game 2 and 3, but specifically I think that this is just nuts. Especially I've been running Gladiator Beasts, and running trap cards has just become a mainstay in just my main strategy, and I was always trying to figure out how to get the Lightsworns to really just stay on the field, get the package going, and I think trap cards, a trap lineup specifically, really helps with that. Going off, we've got 1 Mirror Force, 1 Compulse, double Bottomless, double D-Prison, just kind of, like I was saying with Gores specifically, like unless you have, because I do run the Starlight Road and the Solemn Judgment to kind of just keep things on field. Starlight Road just because, you know, if they see the Heavy Storm, they see the Heavy Storm. Starlight keeps your traps alive. Solemn Judgment, same thing, kind of works as a pseudo Starlight, but also doesn't rely specifically on the multi-destruction. You can just Solemn a monster summon, you can Solemn any other inherent just spell trap cards that can be a huge threat at the time. Solemn's just too good. But also, if you're not, unless you're specifically setting these in like 3 other back row, like if you're not starting these, if you're starting like a D-Prison, a Mirror Force, a Bottomless, a Compulse, you know, what have you, if you're not starting specifically the set 5 go, and even if you have the start 5, if you have the set 5 go, you're probably just winning as long as you have monsters, at least in my experience. But I think it's nuts to be able to set up, like if you have Gores specifically, you know, set a Bottomless, set a Compulse. It's one of those like set 1 or 2 so that you have counters. And then because you have trap cards, once they see the trap cards, they might not specifically expect the Gores, which makes it even more broken. But nonetheless, this just keeps things alive, and if anything, because I run the double Celestia, I think this also just pushes plays to be able to keep a Lightsworn on field specifically, even more so to just get that extra normal summon. I think the trap cards are too good. To round off the trap cards, we've got 1 Call of the Haunted to just kind of bring a monster back, set up that Celestia play, set up just a power play of if you've made a synchro play or you have a Plague Spreader and want to synchro, just anything at the time. Beckoning Light, just to bring things back like I mentioned before. That is in the main deck, 40 cards. Moving on to the extra deck, we've got Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, 1 Armory Arm. This doesn't come up a whole lot, but if you have like a Plague Spreader in your hand and you have a set Raikou, you can flip Raikou, go Armory Arm, just to have like an 1800 decent monster. Magical Android, Catastor, Goyo Guardian, Brionic, Tempest Magician. Tempest Magician doesn't come up a whole lot, but I mean Lila and a Plague Spreader makes it, so you run it. Black Rose Dragon, Thought Ruler Archfiend, Avenging Knight also doesn't come up, but it's one of those things where it's like you're a light deck. It could come up, you never know, why not run it? Colossal Fighter, Stardust Dragon, Red Dragon Archfiend, and Mistworm. This is only 14 cards. My 15th card was Arcanite Magician. I was running a Gale originally. This was a Chaos. I've shared my Chaos Lightsworn build on the channel before, and this was what I changed it up into, and a friend of mine is actually borrowing my Arcanite Magician, so I do not have that on me right now. But I also cannot summon Arcanite Magician unless specifically I had control. Like if I Goyo Guardianed into a Gale, like if Goyo Guardian took a Gale, then Gale could synchro with, let's say, Lila or something to make Arcanite Magician. But otherwise, specifically in my build, I used to be able to make it, but my 15th card was Arcanite Magician, so that is the 15th card. You could replace it with anything else. If you just want a 3000 defense monster, you know, it could just be an Ancient Fairy Dragon. Could be any other synchro that you would want to fill in. So that's the deck. I hope you liked the deck build. Tell me what you thought down there as far as what your thoughts on the deck, what you think of the trap lineup, what you think of just what I've been doing with the deck. I think it's a really innovative way to just kind of move Lightsworns forward. I've been enjoying it. I've only gotten to run it at one tournament, but I did end up doing pretty well as far as I was concerned. I like the flow of how it ran. But yeah, so that is the video. I hope you liked the video. Hit that thumbs up button if you did. Check out my new content coming out every other day as far as feature matches are concerned. I will be posting things regularly, whether it's pack videos, deck videos, feature matches. Hit that subscribe button so you can make sure to see those videos when they come out, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.